Hello, ladies. I'm Wil Wheaton. I'm here to mansplain to you everything that is wrong with Star Wars Rogue One.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. Oh, this is going to be patronizing, isn't it?
Starting with the female protagonist.
I really don't get fazed by a lot of those terms that they use when they mock males.
To mansplain.
I mean, I've used the term disgustingly macho or disgusting machismo for years for describing a lot of aspects of stereotypical male culture. Of course, I also have similar disrespect for stereotypical female culture. That's all fine. I don't really mind a lot of when they say stuff like toxic masculinity. I mean, so fucking what? You have toxic masculinity? I mean, you can have good apples, you can have bad apples, you can have masculinity of some sort, and you can have toxic masculinity. You know, when people make big deals over terms like that, I don't care. It always makes me think of one of my favorite George Carlin rants, just called Man Shit. I recommend that. I think that would be a good example of toxic masculinity, or at least what I think it is, because I really don't know what the fuck the feminists are talking about when they say toxic masculinity.
I've been using the term disgusting machismo long before social justice warriors had a YouTube to put up videos on. But you know what? Even I find the term mansplain to be kind of ridiculously patronizing.
Who am I supposed to identify with in this movie?
I don't really care a whole lot about Star Wars Rogue One. Probably watch it eventually.
It's bad enough that we had to wait however long it is we had to wait for Star Wars The Force Awakens to come out, but they told us that Luke Skywalker was going to be in it. He didn't even talk, spoiler alert.
Episode 7 wasn't without complaints. You can't really dismiss everything that they say or every bad comment about it as misogynistic, which is clearly what you're already started to do here. Yeah, I suppose if somebody was looking forward to seeing Luke Skywalker, they could be kind of annoyed by how little he was in it. Star Wars Episode 1 was probably my least favorite Star Wars movie, but compare that to Star Wars Episode 7. At least when I watched Episode 1, I felt like I watched something. With Episode 7, it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. One thing I did like about Episode 7, they actually did introduce new characters that actually were likable. It was that new character, Finn. He actually was an interesting character. He didn't do a whole lot to make me like the character, but at the very first, he's a deserter. He's the kind of soldier I can respect. He risked his life to get away from his evil co-workers who were working for a government murdering innocents. I respect deserters. I like Finn for that. After that, he didn't do too much else to keep me interested, but I like the character. Rey, I kind of like how she took care of the droid. She was kind of a positive, heroic character as well. She was probably a little bit more interesting as time went on, maybe even a little more interesting than Finn, but Finn's backstory made him more interesting. As for the gender of the characters, that wouldn't make a fucking bit of difference.
And then Han Solo was in it, but he dies, spoiler alert.
Killing off Han Solo, well, you could almost picture the actor having visions of finally being released from the franchise, and at the same time distantly thinking, I'll never see a truckload of money like that again. And it's actually kind of funny. I mean, they went back to using some really older style, like a lot of physical props, and the Muppet they got to play, Han Solo, was actually pretty impressive. It did a good job of looking like he had Alzheimer's. There's one point where he actually grabs, where he uses Chewbacca's Wookiee bowcaster fucking thing, and it's like he's hung around with him for how many years and he never used it, and he's got this look like, I really like this thing. He looks like he's an Alzheimer's patient that just kind of suddenly remembered how to masturbate, and they thought they learned to do it for the first time, and they just really enjoyed it. So, you know, there's lots of little things you could pick apart about Star Wars Episode 7. Misogyny has nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm surprised people didn't get sick of the whole fucking thing before the movie came out with all the commercials.
We have to spend the entire rest of the movie looking at a woman who's fully clothed. How am I supposed to care about anything that happens in that movie when there's nothing in it for me to jerk off to?
It actually reminded me more of Star Trek 2009. than Star Wars Episode 4, but it wasn't nearly as stupid as Star Wars 2009 or Star Trek 2009.
And in most of Star Wars, Princess Leia isn't even wearing a bra, which, last time I checked, was empowering feminists.
There's even a stupid little scene where they have the protagonist looking up at the sky at some sort of cosmic disaster, and that statement could go for Star Trek 2009 and Star Wars Episode 7. Issue of distance. I don't know. It just felt wrong.
These things are ruining my childhood. They're taking everything that mattered to me and they're fisting it. Oh, look. Oh, hey, look. Oh, here, there's more for you. There's that. Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters. Ugh.
Now it's serious.
Ghostbusters. 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 Ghostbusters!
You mentioned Ghostbusters. Now,
Ghostbusters!
you bearded bitch. Now, calling that misogynistic when that got complaints, that was just fucking stupid. And everybody knows it's fucking stupid. Sony took a franchise that, well, they had an excellent first movie. They actually created an animated series that showed they could do a lot of stories that were just as high quality as anything Marvel or DC comic books came out with. They could create a whole universe around this. Was kind of fucking obvious. They had a spin-off series, Extreme Ghostbusters. There was all sorts of potential for that franchise. And what did they do? They took it out of its original creator's hands, pestered it away from Ivan Reitman, got it away from Dan Aykroyd, and created a ridiculous reboot that was supposed to be finally a shared movie universe, but they rebooted the original Ghostbusters right the fuck out of it. Now, of course, right there, skepticism that this is going to be a bad movie because they're making bad decisions, and obviously not for the fucking fans. But then we even see the trailer, and it's the most ridiculous-looking crap they could present us with. The first trailer was horrible. The second trailer was actually worse. So yeah, if you're trying to make it look like people are misogynistic for disliking Ghostbusters, you're a goddamn idiot. And from what I gather, most of the Star Wars trailers, despite the fact it was clear they had female protagonists, for the most part they went over relatively well. As far as I can tell,
That's okay. Maybe Rogue One is going to change that, so I'm going to put it on. And oh, terrific! Another female protagonist. Maybe Star Wars just doesn't care about men. Is what I would say if I was a complete f***ing moron.
because you are. You are, because you're parroting something that's almost non-existent. But given the numerous amount of people that are talking about Star Wars, if you're really mining hard for it, you'll probably find it. It's not a common point of view you're mocking. You're digging for misogyny. You're basically being a moron, or a douche, or an asshole, or whatever proper insult fits you the best. I think you're a cunt with a beard.
Here's the deal, boys. Star Wars The Force Awakens didn't ruin Star Wars. George Lucas ruined Star Wars with the Star Wars prequels, specifically a little movie called The Phantom Menace.
Well, actually, Star Wars Episode 1 didn't ruin Star Wars. Star Wars was still around after it. I didn't like Star Wars Episode 1. I kind of got the feeling that the same thing happened with Star Wars Episode 7, where the movie came out and people were like afraid to criticize it because such a big hype was made about it. But before Star Wars Episode 1, Star Wars had been a huge money-making franchise of the late 70s and early 80s that was kinda not really forgotten about, but it was something of the past. Star Wars Episode 1 actually brought Star Wars back, good or bad. Yeah, it's bad. But it didn't ruin Star Wars. You could criticize any one little thing in it, but it didn't actually ruin Star Wars. The great parts of Star Wars I consider to be the things like Knights of the Old Republic, the expanded universe, now known as the Legends universe, that actually got killed when they decided to do away with all that stuff just to make it more convenient when they made new movies. So in a way, you could say Star Wars Episode 7 killed the old Star Wars. That could work, but no. George Lucas created Star Wars. He made some mistakes in episode 1, definitely, but it didn't kill Star Wars.
Representation in film, television, media really matters.
Representation is important. Is that why you're representing an asshole?
It is awesome that something as beloved as Star Wars has strong, positive, non-sexualized female leads that young girls can get excited about and emulate and grow up to be like. As white dudes, if you have a problem with that, you know where you can go.
And, wait a second, white dudes? What does white have to do with it? What, are you saying other racists? Are you saying other races can't be sexist? What the fuck?
As white dudes, if you have a problem with that, you know where you can go? Literally anywhere in entertainment. Pick a video game, pick a movie, pick a television show, pick the news. Oh, or go to fucking Congress, because we run everything.
What do you mean, we? Do you identify with the people in Congress? I mean, they're largely bought off, will say anything for just about anybody and do just about any stupid thing for money. So does that we mean you're a lot like the people in Congress, you and perhaps Anita Sarkeesian, who I know you're kind of in her camp. So you mean people like you are like them? Or some of the other examples when you say we, this exact we, do you mean somehow that I, the audience, I'm supposed to respond to you as if I'm in the same group you are? Am I supposed to think I'm the same type of person because I can grow facial hair? Or maybe because we're both various shades of pasty that we're supposed to relate to each other? Is it because I have a penis and you are one?
If you don't like it in Star Wars, too f***ing bad. You'll get over it. I'm Wil Wheaton, and you've been mansplained. Back to you, ladies.
Isn't that kind of sexist term of mansplaining? Isn't that, doesn't that require a man? I don't feel like you mansplained anybody. It seems like you douche-splained somebody. It seems like you're douche-splaining, because I think you're a douche. And this is from The Nerdist. Yeah, The Nerdist. Well, at least you still have a career. You were the Jar Jar Binks of Star Trek. And that joke was already used on The Big Bang Theory, one other place that you'll sometimes show up. I mean, I think you spent a fair bit of the 20 zeros bringing yourself back in a way that made you look cool to the public. Now you look like you're just an Anita Sarkeesian lackey. You look like a dumbass. I mean, you've really gone downhill the last few years since you've been sucking at the social justice warrior nipple. But when I think of the most appropriate response to the video, to this stupid video, which if you look at the likes, you can tell how well loved it is. Well, I think the proper response to this video has already been said. It's already been said by one of science fiction's greatest examples of what a human being could be. One of the great examples of humanity at its perfection. The great Jean-Luc Picard said it perfectly. He said it perfectly before.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
This is UNIMULTIVERSE Video Logs 2016, Joey vs. Wil Wheaton, Episode 1. A response to Mansplain It to Me, Wil Wheaton Trolls Star Wars, from the YouTube channel Nerdist. You can go look for that video, check it out, if you want. I suppose that would prove I didn't misrepresent it. Or you could just look around for more other people. I'm sure lots of other people are going to put up responses to that video. In fact, while I expect it will get views, the dislikes are going to outweigh the likes. That's already going on. I expect that to continue. I suppose they're getting views, but for the most part, this seems like a irresponsibly bad video to be uploaded by Nerdist. But hey, their call, not mine, and I'm just responding to it, and I'm sure lots of other people will too. So hopefully you enjoyed my video, and well, the feel free to check out more.
And then the first thing they do is removing the existing Ghostbusters material from the timeline of this new movie universe. I don't care if it's bad or not. It's like Star Trek. They started giving me crappy Star Trek, so basically I'm just not getting new Star Trek. Loved Enterprise, loved Next Generation, loved Deep Space Nine, but they stopped making Star Trek, gave me new movies. That's not really good Star Trek, so I might as well just sit back and laugh at how bad it got. I'll do the same with Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters!
Shut up, Wesley.